Hello, welcome everyone. 12 noon. And you'll need a stick. Well, a stick, a broom handle, a mop. Obviously not a dripping one, because that might get all over the place. But a mop, a walking stick. What else around the house could there be? A mop or a broom handle might be a good one. It could be like you've got some walking poles. You could use one of those. Just lean over here. I've got this one, look. It is an actual stick. We found it when we was out walking one day. And you know, stuff gets brought home, doesn't it? Well, this got brought home. This is the actual one that Bob peeled the bark off with my potato peeler, and he made it into, well, what, not a stick really, it's a staff. Get it right. It's more of a staff now, look. Something like what's its face off Lord of the Rings would have. You shall not pass. What's his name? It's not Merlin. That's different film, I think. I can't think of his name, but you know who I mean. You'll need a stick, a broom handle, a walking stick, a stick out your garden, a staff, something like that. Morning, or more or less afternoon to everybody. So Vivian, hello there, and I hope you're with Paul. Hello, Paul. Mrs. Perry's arrived for the daily noon dose. Thank you, Gandalf. Of course it is. He did say that, though, didn't he? You shall not pass. What a great film. What a great trilogy of films. I could watch some of that later, maybe. Maybe that could be our evening switch on. Watch that. Watch one of those films. So yeah, we'll be using a one of these. So arm yourself into the movement snack today. And any catcher-uppers as well. There's due warning before the movement snack starts. Go find a mop or a stick or something like that. Yeah, we're gonna have a work through with one of those today. Just a different item from around your house. We often, as you know, use a tea towel, a cushion, a pillow, a band if you've got one lying around the house. I know it's not your typical household object. I've just noticed I've not got my proper shoes on. I've got my gardening shoes on. Luckily, it's not horrible in the garden. So I can get away with wearing them indoors today. Right, Gillian's off for some lunch. Well, do what you can, Gillian, and then go and have a nice lunch out. I think I've got booked in just a coffee over a Teams meeting after this. Vivian's watching the D-Day Memorial Service on TV. I bet it was. I think I'd have to have a cry, you know. I do get rather emotional at things like that. As well as E.T. You know what I mean? You've seen me get emotional over silly things on the movement snack before and brought a tear to my eye. So just imagine what I'd be like watching that in the middle of the day. I'd be a mess. I'd have a snotty sleeve and everything coming onto the movement snack if I'd have watched any of that D-Day Memorial Service. Right. Maddie's in the same boat as me. We'd have to be in a boat because there'd be a river a pond of tears, wouldn't there? And we'd need a stick so that we could, what is it, pergola our way through, like they do on the canals. Right, here we are. It's 12 o'clock. 3, 2, 1. Good afternoon and welcome. It's just gone 12 actually. Time for a noontime movement snack, I'd say. Shall we? And it's the 6th today. It's the 80th anniversary of D-Day. And it is the Thursday, the 6th of June, 2024. Shall we? Come on. Right. Just prop your prop against somewhere. So it's not going to fall on the floor and get under your feet, of course. Have a look around you. You've got options for external support. You're probably in your usual spot. I'm telling you all of the stuff that you know already, but there's your prompt all the same. Start pedaling through the legs. You might get a bit of a clickety-clack out of your ankles, feet and toes. Work on through that. Lift up tall as you stand, or equally as you sit. And if you're not in the front of your chair, just take some manoeuvring hip walking to get yourself front third of the chair. The backs of your thighs are off the chair. It's just your buttocks that are on. This gives us a bit more room around us to move. Picking up the knees, pushing from the ball of your foot, and you're into a steady paced march. Something that's definitely way off being intense, so it's easy, it's low level, it's rhythmical, it's sustainable. Bring in an extra bit. An arm swing, that might be followed up by the second arm. It might not be. You might continue to hold on to your external support and then swap sides. The elbows are bent here. Easier to move from the shoulder with a bent arm rather than a long straight arm. You'll feel that backward press really just get into the shoulder a bit more around the front. Keep going, keep going, keep going. And you'll warm up gradually. You'll breathe a little deeper, but not much more than that actually. Just preparing the muscles, preparing the body, switching on our body awareness so that we can think a bit more rather than just do and go on autopilot with the movements in this snack. Take a pause there with the legs. Maybe you want to carry on just a moment longer with the arms. Just put in a little bit of fidgeting. You might want a couple of shoulders in there. You might want a couple of trunk movements. You might want a couple of these just crowbarred in from time to time. Okay, now with your stick or your mop or your broom or your walking stick or your anything stick-like, make sure you got enough room. Let's not clip anything off the sides and break any ornaments or windows or anything like that. Now, you're going to turn your stick around. Now, this is quite a long stick. Look, it's just about as tall as I. So I've got to watch out. So I'm going to hold with an overhand grip. Make sure you feel all right in standing. You're going to have both hands onto the stick. So you need to feel steady in standing. You could potentially just prop yourself up against something. Look, I'm bashing the door already. So let's take a movement where we push down, go forwards, pull in, push upwards, and come down all the way. So have a go at that again. The arms are straight. we've gone forwards, we've gone in, getting the elbows back a bit, we've gone forwards and upwards, and then you can come back down again. And you can take it any which way, forwards and in, up and round, forwards and in, round and down. It's up to you. If you come down to this down position here, just flick your elbows over to make that a little bit easier for the arms. So that's your elbows are here perhaps, flick them over and lower. In seated, you've got something exactly the same. The only thing is you're not going to get a down, you're not going to get a straight arm position, but you can get some of that. Best you can, try and keep your arms, your stick moving symmetrically. Bit of work through the shoulders there. And relax. Maybe do one or two more. Just getting the shoulders moving there a little bit. Now, moving on then. If you hold your stick in front of you, plant it onto the ground, we'll take a stride forwards to there and then come back. And then to the other side. Now, you can keep your back foot flat if you like. The stick might come forwards a little bit, so just make sure that you've got hold of that and it's supporting your upward posture. That stride can be as short, as in a small step, or as long as you want it to be. So have a play around, start small, maybe a small step, see how that feels. Coming back to your base of around hip distance apart for good balance and steadiness on your feet. And then see if you want to take the stride a little bit deeper, a little bit further. Do a variation. A small, it might be a medium, and then it might be a one large step. And as you do that, the stick, it's acting as a bit of a stability, a bit of external support, but also it gives us a bit of lift in the posture as well. If you've got your hands pressing it into the ground, you've got a bit of downward press there. And as that downward press is in place, the shoulders are down and the posture feels that lift as well. Keep that firm downward press. So we're not letting our stick or broom or mop come off the floor. It's not having the opportunity to slip either, so it's really securely pressed down. Good for striding. You probably feel that a little bit in the arms, backs of the arms as well. You've got a push back from the legs, but there's also a bit of a push back through the arms too. Okay, take a pause there. How does that feel? How are we doing? We're all right. We're all good for time. Okay, so in seated, actually, I just got carried away with that, didn't I? Hopefully you followed that up in seated with that same kind of action. leaning, hinging. Small step, medium step, large step. Hopefully you just followed that up. Apologies for not mentioning it until now. Pressing down with the hands, getting a bit of upward lift and assistance for posture there as well. Okay. Right, let's put the stick to one side. That should do with that item for now. Let's have a look at approaching some external support for a bit of a balance challenge. So we're going to go for the narrow position of the feet. Now normally what we do is we step into it, which we are going to do today in fact. So we step into it and we shift the weight forwards a bit. Now this quite narrow position, tightrope position of your feet can be really challenging. So just make sure that you've got your external support accessible. If you want to break your way into that by stepping into a narrow position but not very narrow and in line with one another, then you can do. Just go a bit narrower. Legs are together but feet aren't quite crossed, and then you can come back to base. So just go into, hold for a few seconds and out of that position. So you're entering the position, few seconds hold, coming back out of position. Have a go at that, stepping that backwards as well. So you can either step forwards into it, hold a few seconds. You might want to lighten your support during this hold time and then come back to base, and then you can step back into it as well. Have a look down, quick glance. Lighten, loosen, let go your support and come back to base. There's an add-on for there, but first of all, in seated. It's all about placement and positioning, and we'll add in a bit of a reach as well. So tuck your feet back, bring them slightly closer together, and then step into this, and then either with both hands or with one hand, reach forwards. You might want to do that one on each side if you're doing right and left separate, and then step back to base and then go into the other side. There's your reach forwards. Your feet are flat at this point, both feet firmly planted, just in a narrower position, and stepping back. Now we can step backwards, but we need to adjust the feet forward slightly, just so that we've got enough step space to get the heel down. So we can step back there. We can this time reach, turn to the side, back to tall, reach, turn to the other side, back to tall, and then feet slightly scooted in front of you. Stepping back with the other side, we can do a reach incorporated with a trunk turning action in there as well. So have a move around through that. Now in standing, if you're taking the pause in the middle, we're kind of staggering that movement. So let's go into our position and then see if you can push straight out of that and into the second position. So forwards push, bring the foot round, backwards transfer of weight, freeze up the front leg, look, and you can get into the step backwards. Take the stagger, take the pause in the middle if you need it, just to reset and then readjust, and you can have a go round at the other side. Get into your knees. It reminds me a little bit of a of the Charleston step, apart from we're pausing with feet flat. You are getting into your knees a little bit there to kind of cushion your standing position. Lift up your posture. Use the support as much or as little as you can, and it may be varying throughout what you're doing here as well. You should get a bit of a balance challenge. Sometimes getting into and out of positions and stepping out. No, it wasn't. There it goes. I'm back again. Okay, there we go. Take a pause, reset the legs, reorganise yourself, stand tall, take a good old deep breath, and that will do us for the 12 noon. All right, there we go. A few more joiners there. Hello again. That always happens on my phone, doesn't it? A phone call pops in and then it just drops off the airwaves for 10, well, not even 10 seconds. Right, everyone, thanks for joining me. Carol, Gillian, Chris, Maddie, Vivian, Paul, thank you all for your company. Ta for now. See, I'm going to see if Bex wants me to do the 4 PM for her today, because I think she's a bit croaky, isn't she? She's not messaged me back though yet. So it's possible I'll see you back here for 4. Bye for now.